Hey YouTube, my name is John Gosman and I'm an online transformation coach, but I don't want to talk about that today. I want to talk about my own journey and transformation and where I am at the moment with that, because I believe transformation it's a never-ending journey really, because there is always something else to work on, certainly from my perspective. I mean, what else is there to do? If you're not working on yourself physically, spiritually, mentally, and you're just coasting through life, I can't imagine that personally. Just going to work, paying the bills, not having any goals to strive for, not having anything to work on for myself, but so I can become a better person for other people. I only realised that recently when I've really been struggling with my own physical development. I've been going to the gym since 2009, so for 16 years. But it's becoming more and more difficult for me to get there. I just don't care that much anymore. And I think that's because I'm at a stage now where I have a good level of strength, muscularity to feel quite confident in myself and the way that I look, and I can be there for my family the way that I am. And I've earned that. I've earned the right to that over the period of the last 15, 16 years. And I do understand that unless I continue to work on my physical development, that it will deteriorate and I will end up getting weaker and less fit and less able. So it's never an option to quit, but it's just not there like it used to be. I still go to the gym, but the fire's gone because my goals have changed. My life has changed, and it's no longer so much just about how I look. It turned to a journey of trying to work on my mental health, because despite the fact that I looked good and I knew that I looked good and I was stronger than 99.9% of men and had a more aesthetically pleasing body than 99% of men, although that is obviously subjective and down to people's personal opinion, I think it kind of goes without saying that a muscular physique is more masculine, is more alpha, is more respected by men and women. You know, Greek gods, they're not out of shape, are they? You know, and that's what most men strive for, and that's what most women like. And I'm sure there are people watching this that don't like that. That's entirely fine, and that's entirely up to you. But I felt very comfortable with how I looked, and I was depressed. This is something that's been going on for a long while, basically my whole life. I've struggled with my mental health. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 8. I was then re-diagnosed at the age of 13 or 14 because basically my mum wanted to protect me from getting expelled from school, because I was pretty much on my last chance for being a naughty boy, typical ADHD boy. So I was medicated, which changed everything very quickly, and I ended up passing school with decent grades. And then, thrown out into the real world, and my ADHD showed itself as anxiety, depression, social anxiety. I've always been different, and I'm fine with that. But I lived with it for many, many years. But deep down, I always knew that I was supposed to be doing better with my life, providing more for my family, and I just didn't know how to do it. I was thinking about college courses, what career should I do, what business should I start, like we all do, thinking about the actions that we should take. And this is, fast forwarding to my 30s now. I pretty much wasted my 20s struggling with my mental health, but getting through for my family, still getting up, still going to work, making sure that my family were provided for as a responsible parent, but I wasn't happy. And that's not my wife's fault, that's not my kids' fault. It's, as far as I am concerned, even to this day, it's down to the conditioning that I was subjected to throughout my life, being told what I could or couldn't do as somebody with a disorder, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. I was brought up in a world to be told that I was not going to be any good in life, and I believed it, and that's kind of how I acted and how I behaved. That's where my thought process was coming from the level of consciousness that I was programmed with. But call it divine inspiration. I'm not sure whether that's quite the right thing, but I always knew deep down that I should be doing more, that I was capable of more, and I just needed to figure out what and how. So with nothing other than brute force and determination and taking action that felt incredibly uncomfortable time and time again, but still struggling with my mental health, I managed to start turning my life around. I started my personal training, which led to one-to-one online coaching, which has led to life coaching now, pretty much, but still with the fat loss as the primary goal of the transformation process. Working on my mental health and then getting re-diagnosed with ADHD when I was 32 put me leaps and bounds ahead of where I was. But I was then struggling with overwhelm, with burnout, with trying so hard, coming from a place of desperation. Like, I wanted a better life for my family so bad. I wanted nice things so bad. I wanted a new house so bad, and I was desperate. And I was just trying so hard. I didn't want to rest. I just wanted to work. Getting burnt out, getting overwhelmed, to the point where I'd have to take a big step back, sometimes for days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. And after going around in circles like that for, many years, and reading all the books and understanding all of the different concepts of mental health and ADHD, I spend genuinely thousands and thousands of hours over the course of the years, over the course of my lifetime, doing personal research. It may be an ADHD thing. It probably is an ADHD thing, where I just have to know everything about everything, which is why I think I'm such a good coach, because there isn't much that I don't know about physical well-being, mental well-being, and now spiritual well-being, which is a whole new kettle of fish. And I love it. And what I love about spirituality is more so the quantum physics and the metaphysics side of things, and the fact that most religious principles now can be proved with science. And it's not just, most spirituality stuff isn't woo-woo as people think. It's not about being a hippie. It's not about being a through and through Christian or a hardcore Muslim or whatever. That's how some people perceive spirituality, and that's how people live their lives. But for me, on my journey, my spirituality is about the laws of the universe, which is going to have to be for another video, because that's just going to open up a whole new train of thought. But so my own personal journey of transformation, it started with physical development, because when I was a teenager, I was lost physically, mentally, and spiritually, and the only thing that I knew or knew what to do, or the best thing that I thought to do in that moment was to go to the gym to look better, thinking that it would give me more self-confidence to speak to women, to approach women, to just have a bit more confidence in myself. And it worked. It certainly worked, but like I said, it didn't make me happy. And then after many, because you have to go through things for a while. You need to face certain situations many times and be in pain many times before you really are ready for that moment where you're like, I can't do this no more. And that was when I took a step back from the physical development and started reading books on my emotions. Why do I feel this way? Why do I behave that way? Why do I respond that way? And one book led to another, one audio book led to another, which led to finding this person and this person and this person. And, you know, out of the hundreds, if not thousands of audio books and videos that I've stumbled across on YouTube, there are a select few that I resonate with on a deeper level. I feel like that is what I'm meant to hear. Even people that share the same principles, there are certain people that I just resonate with. And there will be certain people that you just resonate with in life when you're looking on YouTube. Say if you're looking for an online coach, you will be drawn towards the right one. Call it intuition, which is a spiritual thing in itself. But you'll know. If you're listening to this, you'll either like me or you won't. You'll either think that I'm just rambling on and talking shit, or you'll be really like, yeah, do you know, I like this guy. There are many nice guys out there that I've listened to, and I'm just like, they're not doing it for me. But there are a few that do. Neville Goddard's principles on the law of assumption. Joe Dispenza, he used to trigger me, but I now know why. And it's because I wasn't ready for it. I stumbled across Joe Dispenza quite early on in my mental and spiritual journey, and I didn't get it. And I was like, I don't like this bloke. But now I'm at a new level of consciousness, and I understand what he's saying. It now resonates with me, and I completely get it. And I believe it wholeheartedly. My most recent find, David Bayer. Just love it. I just love the idea of the fact that your thoughts create your reality, and your beliefs and your feelings manifest and create the world around you, and you can change your life with one decision. The difficulty is remaining in that state, and this is kind of where I've been leading to, I think, with this video. And this is where my current struggle is. See, life is always a struggle. You can either not work on self-development and struggle being poor, struggle being depressed, and struggle in your relationships and lose your wife and fuck things up with your kids and all the rest of it. That's a struggle. Or you can work on yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, which is a struggle. But which one's going to give you a better life? Because I know how I used to feel before I was working on myself, and I felt so lonely. I didn't want to be here. And I'm still struggling now, but I'm happy. And I can say that for the first time in my life. So, not always happy, don't get me wrong. And this is where I was getting to really with this video, which is the primary, the key principle that I've learned over the years. And that is that you can choose your state. Your state of consciousness is a decision. It's everything. Because if you believe that you are, let's just say, short, fat, ugly, hopeless, helpless, nobody loves you, nobody wants to employ you, the world is a dark, mean, evil, horrible place, and everyone's out to get you, and why do these things always happen to me? Then you are going to have all of those things show up in your life as a result of your state of consciousness. Now you can take that person, and they could wake up one morning and shift their state of consciousness to somebody that is, I am rich, I'm wealthy, I'm happy, I'm successful, everybody loves me, why am I so lucky, I can't help but attract good things into my life, and feel that with your imagination. You close your eyes, you practice it in the morning for 5-10 minutes. You imagine yourself as the version of yourself that you want to be, having what you want to have, speaking to people in the way that you wish you could speak to people, and looking the way that you want to look. And you think about that in your imagination, and you feel how that feels, and you try and remain in that state of consciousness when you wake up back into the 3D after the exercise. And by 3D I mean, you know, life. Watch how your life changes around you. Watch you see things that you've never seen before. Watch things happen to you that don't usually happen. It is truly incredible, and you'll realise that life is a game. It's one of my favourite books, or audio books, by Florence Shin, is The Game of Life and How to Play It. Highly recommend it. While we're on the subject of books, Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard, and As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Those 3 books, read them on repeat, utilise the principles that are in there, and you will change your whole damn life in every single possible way. And that's where the struggle is, because it's all very well knowing that and practicing that, but your old identity, the old version of yourself, the person who you are, I guess now, before listening to this video, I'm not saying that this video is going to change your life, but the person that you've been for the last 10 years or whatever. I've since learnt from Neuro Knowledge, go on YouTube, and I've got his book, what's it called? Master Your Reality, how to master your, no, not how to, mastering your reality or something like that. And your old identity is an entity. It's a living entity that will fight for its life. And I feel that, and I so believe it, because I'm there experiencing it, you know, right now, regularly. Shit will start happening when you decide to change your life. When you try to embody a new version of yourself, your old identity will throw spanners in the works time and time again. You'll be fighting thoughts that you no longer want to think. You'll be fighting cravings that you no longer want to have. And you'll be like, this isn't me anymore. I've decided to be this person. So why do I keep getting these thoughts? And it's because that entity still lives inside of you. And this is where discipline comes in. And that comes in, it has to come in at the very, very top. And while a lot of spiritual people say that you don't need to take action, that you just need to put your faith in God and put your trust in God and everything will align, there has to be action. Sometimes miracles, sometimes things can happen without action. You can think about a certain thing and it will just show up on your door one day. Like Jim Carrey said that when he was a child, he really, really wanted this bike, and it was a very specific type of bike. And he imagined it. He just wanted this bike. And one showed up at his door one day. And one of his friends had entered a raffle for him. And he had no idea that his friend was doing this. But his friend entered a raffle for him, and he won that bike, the bike from his imagination that he wanted. Now, a lot of people say, oh yeah, that's coincidence. It's not Jim Carrey's doing that child entered the raffle or whatever. But that's where, from my learning, that you would have to disagree, because as soon as you put an idea out there into the universe, the whole world around you will start to work in your favor for you to materialize the things that you desire. And if Jim Carrey didn't want that bike, if he hadn't been imagining that bike, I don't believe that his friend would have entered the raffle for him. Or if he did, he wouldn't have won it. The universal God wants these things for you. God, there's so many fucking nuggets in this video, I'll tell you. I know I've got 50 subscribers, people don't know who I am. Therefore, you may struggle to respect me. I don't know if people are still going to be listening to this video 20 minutes in, but you know, I'm speaking randomly here, off the cuff, while I'm just enjoying my coffee in a car park, and I'm sharing some serious knowledge here with you, some serious wisdom, like life-changing stuff. But you know, I know only from experience that you're only going to hear things and resonate things when you are ready to hear them. And you know, whether you're ready to hear this yet or not, you may not believe me or trust me enough, and that's fine. You know, I'm here, and I'm going to post this video with no expectations, and if one person listens to it and it's helped one person, then that's fine. You know, I've enjoyed making the video. 20 minutes of my life, that's absolutely fine. So this is kind of how my videos are going to be, because this is how I am. I often go off on tangents, and I'll say one thing and it will lead me down a path, and I'll think, oh shit, well, what was I even talking about? And again, while I believe that anybody can change and we don't need to be limited by our self-limiting beliefs and the preconceived identities that we have about ourselves that may not be serving us, I have ADHD and I'm cool with that. So that means that sometimes I go off on tangents and I forget what I was talking about, and I'm done with fighting it. Do you know what I mean? I'm done with fighting that. So that's kind of where I've gone from. I've basically gone from being depressed, anxious, and not wanting to live this life, to be honest with you. And I felt like that many times on and off in my teens and in my 20s. I didn't like who I was. But what kept me going was one, my family. You know, I had my son quite early on, and there was no way I was ever going to consider leaving him for a second. But two, it was that gut feeling that there is and was more for me to learn, more for me to do. And I'm getting there. I'm 36 and I'm getting there. And my current struggle, my current battle, my current fight is shaking this old identity off of my shoulders that I have spent 35 years reinforcing. And it's going to take time, it's going to be a lot of work, because although I can decide in a minute that I don't have to be that person anymore, the habits, the thoughts, the behaviors, you know, the wiring in my brain is 3 decades old, and it is going to continue delivering me those thoughts, those feelings, and those beliefs, which may shape my actions. And the only way out now is with a fight. When those thoughts and feelings show up, which they do regularly on a daily basis, I need to respond to them from the new level of consciousness, to reinforce the new level of consciousness, the new identity, and weaken the old identity. And that's going to be a process. But with every thought, with every decision, with every action, the new me will get stronger and the old me will fade away. And soon I will keep returning to the new version of me rather than returning to the old version of me. And you know, this is coming after a recent slip, a recent difficult patch where I started to slip. But I'm here now, and I'm ready to go again. So yeah, I'll leave it there. If you enjoyed the video, if anything resonated with you, if there was anything in particular that you liked, please comment and I'll respond. And subscribe, share, and all that stuff, what YouTubers ask for, or don't. I don't really care. But yeah, until next time. How do I wrap this up? I need to think of intros and outros for my YouTube. Speak to you soon.